Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Talk with Kaima. It's Friday morning, and I am excited. Friday mornings are one of my favorite mornings of the week. You know, when you're in real estate, each morning of the week is really just a morning, right? Because real estate doesn't sleep. Real estate happens every single day. Somebody once said, what day do you work in real estate? Well, every day that ends in Y. Those are the days I work. And but real estate's also one of those careers where if you have a passion for it, it doesn't matter. Like you love it. Like it just doesn't matter, right? And I love it. Now, are there parts of real estate sometimes I don't like? Yeah, absolutely. But overall, guys, this is so fun. But Fridays are special. Why are Fridays special? Because I love Coffee Talk with Kaima. Again, I stopped doing it for a couple of years after having done Coffee Talk every Friday for, 4 years or so. Shout out to my good friend, Miranda Dalzell, who created Coffee Talk with Kaima with me in the early days. It was one of those things where when I stopped doing it, people would come up to me and they're like, "Hey man, I miss Coffee Talk." Or kids, that was the one that surprised me the most, is kids would come up to me and be like, "Hey Coach Kaima, like, are you going to do Coffee Talk? I heard my name on Coffee Talk." Those kinds of things. And that's special. That feels good. You know what I mean? That feels real good. Anyhow, so I'm excited. Let's get a sip of coffee and get your coffee. Go ahead and get you a sip of coffee now. Mine's still really hot, so it's a baby sip. Anyhow, so super excited. Oh, by the way, what are you drinking today? Share it with me. You know what I'm drinking? I'm drinking Donkey, because you know why? Kaima runs on Donkey. Anyhow, good morning. Good morning. I am excited today. Variety of reasons, but there's two major reasons. Do you know what today is? Today is Cinco de Mayo, right? 5-5, Cinco Cinco, baby. And yet that is reason enough. When I was younger, that was reason enough to celebrate. And listen, I'm one of those guys that loves Hallmark, because Hallmark gives us lots of reasons to celebrate things. And we have enough negative stuff going on in our world that when you get something to celebrate, let's do it, right? Let's go ahead and celebrate. That being said, Cinco Cinco, what is that? It's my wife's birthday today. My wife, Jen Kaima, if you wouldn't mind, giving her a little happy birthday shout out today. I'm going to mention it several times here today because it's an important day. And for my wife, for Jenny, her mom, since she was, 5 years old or so, has been making her this one special cake. There's a newspaper clipping from the 70s that her mother cut out of the paper. It's a really cool strawberry homemade whipped cream kind of a cake, but it's really unique in that it uses red currant jelly and some other things as well. And I've been making it for her ever since, 1998 when we met in 97. I've been making it for her since 98-ish. Some years the whipped cream comes out like it's water, and some years whipped cream comes out like it's butter. This year, early this morning, I got up, made the whipped cream, and it's magnificent. It's fantastic. It's the perfect consistency. It's what you're looking for, right? So anyhow, so happy birthday to Jennifer. Oh, there she is. Morning, Mama. Happy birthday to you. I raise my Kaima cup to you. I know you're not drinking Dunkin'. You're not the Kaima that runs on Dunkin'. I am. Anyhow, so happy birthday to her. Happy Cinco de Mayo to all of you. Maybe I'll see you at a Mexican restaurant for lunch or for dinner today if you're in the Wake Forest area. But what a special day. So Cinco de Mayo, my wife's birthday. Camden's got his last baseball game of the season this year, today before tournament time. Just really, really cool. But before I get started here with anything else, let me go ahead and say this to you. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of my coffee cup, from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of my entire team, on behalf of all the kids in Wake Forest that'll never know who you are, thank you. We delivered peanut butter and jelly last Monday, this past Monday, earlier this week, to the Tri-Area Ministries Food Bank. So Michael Berger, shout out to you. I'll tag you in here. But seriously, thank you. Each jar of peanut butter, if you're one of those people who all you were able to deliver is one jar of peanut butter, you fed a kid for a few days. And that is really, really cool. But there's a lot of kids in need. Now, what we delivered will be gone soon. So don't stop now. Don't wait till next April when we do this again. If you have time, you have extra food, and you want to get to the food pantry, they always accept donations. But thank you to all of you. I had people that I haven't talked to since 1994. Ex-girlfriends of fraternity brothers of mine sending in peanut butter and jelly. And so the need is great, but the heart is bigger. And I'm so grateful for all of you. So shout out to all of you that helped us with that. This weekend, starting tomorrow morning in Wake Forest, one of the largest events. If you're anywhere in the Triangle and you're looking for something to do tomorrow, get to Meet in the Streets. Meet in the Streets. There'll be 15, 20,000 people there. And it's an art crafts. It's a festival with food trucks and beer, and you name it. It is just the coolest festival. Live music, all that kind of thing. It's one of the best attended festivals in the entire Triangle every single year. I'll be there volunteering off and on throughout the day tomorrow, so come find me. I'd love to see. If I haven't met you before, come grab me. But yeah, so tomorrow is the Meet in the Streets. It is an all-day event. I think it's like 10 to 5 or 10 to 6, something like that. You'll see it. Come downtown. You'll enjoy it. Enjoy our restaurants. Enjoy all of our stores downtown, and have a good time. So we'd love to have you there. So right now I'm in short sleeves, as you can see here, right? And it's really, really nice out. But the weather recently, if it hasn't been absolutely perfect for Peter Kama, I don't know what has been. During the mornings, it's too cold to go outside without a hoodie, right? And there's nothing better than throwing on a nice snuggy hoodie first thing in the morning, right? But a hoodie and shorts and a cup of coffee, that is the absolute best morning. That's the absolute number one way to start. That just feels so good. And by the afternoon, 65, sunny. If you're in the sun, it's warm. It's a little bit of a breeze. It's been that way for about a week and a half. I don't want anybody to jinx it. My buddy Andrew told me yesterday that next week here it's supposed to start getting in the upper 80s and people are going to be sweaty and it's going to be hot, and I'm ready for fall. I'm ready. What we've been experiencing has been fall weather. I am so ready for fall weather. Really, really, really ready. But what I'm not ready for is paying the price before then through August, through July, right? Not super excited about that. Wanted to ask you a question. It's one that we've been meaning to talk about on here for a while. Right now, I'm going through a little something I'll share with you here in a second. I've got a little bit of fear over something that's upcoming for me. That being said, do you have a place that you get away? A place that just re-nourishes you, that just resets you, right? Nourishes your soul, gives you a place to breathe, right? As my wife says, breathe your biome, right? Take those deep breaths and just clean yourself out. Clean yourself out here, clean yourself out here, your heart everywhere, right? Do you have a place like that? And if so, where is it, right? So locally, for me, the last, 3, 4, 5 nights, when I get home from the office or wherever I am that day, I have noticed that I'm feeling a lot of pressure. I'm feeling a lot of things going on in my head. And I think a lot of us are, right? For me, I've been grabbing Ozzy in the evening time. We're going up to Joyner Park. Jen goes with us most of the times. And it's a quiet, beautiful place. Ozzy loves it, which makes me happy. But it's a quiet, beautiful place that allows me to kind of hit my reset button, right? It allows me to kind of just kind of clear things out of my head. Sometimes my fire pit in my backyard that we put in last year is that for me. Sometimes I'll go back there and sit in those chairs, and I'll sit back there and I'll just take a deep breath and I'll just love it. I'll just love it. But do you have a place like that? My number one place for that, is Balsam Range up in the mountains of North Carolina. When you cross Balsam Range, you're now in Silva and Cullowhee and places like that, which is where I went to college. And for me, crossing that range allows me to just let everything wash away. It just resets me, just starts me over. Do you have a place like that? Do you have a place that just when you need to go there mentally, sometimes you can get there, but most of the time you got to get there physically to feel the mental relief. I'm in desperate need of a drive up to Cullowhee here very, very soon, and I'll tell you why. So I'm asking for your prayers. I'm scared. I'm nervous. I'm having surgery on Monday, and I'm giving some consideration to postponing the surgery. It's another eye surgery. As most of you that have been following along know, I've had some eye issues in my left eye. This should be the final major surgery of any kind, but I'm nervous, and my nerves are getting the better of me. And what I'm finding is that when things get quiet, when I'm not working, when I'm not busy with the kids or doing something to keep my mind occupied, all of a sudden I'm finding myself being really twitchy, really nervous, really anxious, a little shorter than normal. And I don't think it's unusual, but it's unusual for me. And so on Monday, if you don't mind, on Monday I'm going to be in surgery, and for most people it's probably not a big deal. But for me, for whatever reason, this time around I'm a little bit nervous. So if you don't mind, some of your good juju, because I could use every bit of it. If I decide to go through with this on Monday, your juju is going to be everything to me. And so I'm just asking for that now. Much like I asked you to help me with peanut butter and jelly, and every one of you came through, like we asked for Coats for Kids in October. In this case, I'm asking on a personal level. So yes, hey, lump, dude, I forgot about gate 32. I love 31 as well. I still like walking down towards the entry ramp at the Quabbin. For those of you who don't know what the Quabbin is a reservoir in Massachusetts. It actually happens to be in Western Mass, but it's drinking water for the city of Boston. And it's one of the most beautiful man-made reservoirs you'll ever see in your life. It's huge. It's wonderful, teeming with wildlife. Anyhow, enough about that. So So sometimes when I walk here in the morning, you've heard this before. I will come in here and I will crank "Can't You See," right? The song by the Marshall Tucker Band. I'll come in here and I'll crank all sorts of classic rock, and it'll be loud enough where I can feel my windows sometimes just moving. Like I really love loud music first thing in the morning sometimes, especially here at the office when nobody's here and I don't hear anybody walk in. Right? I love that. We were at dinner the other night, hanging out with a bunch of friends, including our good friend Brian Pate. And Brian Pate, I always like teasing him. He's only a couple of years older than I am, but I like letting him know that he is older than me. He was talking about he's been doing this really good thing where he's been going for walks every day. And the other day he posted a picture and he had a big set of Bose headphones. Probably something really, really good. But it just reminded me, and I started teasing him. Those aren't Bose headphones. That's his headset from his Walkman with the cassette tape back in the 80s, right? And for those of you who remember the Walkman, it was cutting edge at the time, and we all loved having one. But I was teasing him that he still uses a Walkman. And it got me to thinking, like, well, what does he listen to on his Walkman? What does he listen to on his Bose? Like, when I walk, I usually listen to a podcast of some sort. Very rarely is it music. But are you a music person? Are you a podcast person? When you put your headset on, what is it you listen to? And I never did ask Brian that question because sometimes the answer when it comes to music, Brian's the most knowledgeable guy there is when it comes to music, could end up being longer than I have the ability to listen to. So anyhow, so Brian Pate, I love you, brother. I do. I love you. So last week we started this new thing called Tell Us the Good News, right? If you open up and you were to just search news right now, you're going to see nothing but negative news. My wife watches this stuff. She calls it the news. It's called the Today Show. And the opening of the Today Show every single day is sensationalized, breaking overnight, and it's all the negative crap. There's never anything positive. It drives me nuts that we don't share positive news, not just on the Today Show, everywhere. So I started thinking about it, like, well, maybe I could use this platform to share some good news each week. We did that last week, and I got great feedback. So I got a couple of quick stories for you this week. Colorado, young lady, 10 years ago in 2013, was at a wedding, and she had her digital camera with her, and she was going on a tubing trip, getting photos, tubing, so on and so forth, and she lost her camera. Right, it broke off, and she lost her digital camera. She was upset because she was there for a wedding. She had wedding photos on this. She had all sorts of things. And just a couple weeks ago, a guy finds this down near a dam, a mile and a half away. He grabs it, he takes the card out, puts it in his laptop, and sure enough, the photos are still good. So he posts the photos. The groom of the wedding happens to see the photos somehow and contacts him. They hunt down the person whose camera it was, and sure enough, she got all of her photos back 10 years later. That's kind of a cool little time capsule. You know what I mean? Like, how fun is that? But the camera's all rusted out, mile and a half away. Smaller world than that even. She ended up knowing many of the same people that this guy knew, even though they lived hundreds of miles apart. And now they're good friends and what have you. And I thought that was really cool. Well, get this. She lost the camera again in 2017 on another trip. And now we're on the hunt for that. So if you find a camera on a river in Colorado, we have a pretty good idea of who that camera belongs to. Bluebell, Pennsylvania. If you don't know where Bluebell, Pennsylvania is, you're not alone, right? It's in southern PA. Bluebell, Pennsylvania. My favorite baseball player next to my son Camden lives in Bluebell, Pennsylvania. A guy who is now 56 years old decided that he never made his high school baseball team. And then he went off and served in the army, raised a family, did all these things. And his daughter, one of his daughters came to him and said, "Dad, I'm thinking about going back to college." And it got him to think, he's like, I should go back to college. I've always wanted to go back and get a degree. So he went back, got a degree, but he would only go to a college. He went to a community college. He would only go to a school that would allow him to play baseball. And he had to try out, right? So 25 people show up. I was going to say kids, but 25 people show up to try out for this baseball team. 18 were kept, and he was one of them. And he did it on his own merits. Like, he got himself into shape, started working out, started hitting baseballs, and he was one of the top 18 players there. So now we have the oldest athlete playing college baseball in the United States today. He's a 56-year-old man. His head baseball coach is only 5 years older than he is. I love that story, right? How good of a story is that? Anyhow, so when he was working 4 decades, he was a postal carrier. So he worked for the post office, right? And so he's delivered mail to all of the houses, or many of the houses, of his current teammates. And he remembers some of those kids when they were like little and not 18 years old. But here's a 56-year-old man playing baseball with Gen Zers. And I love that. I just love it. So let's talk about the real estate market for a second. Market's slightly improving, right? And it's slightly. We don't get too excited about 1 week turns, but we did see a little slight improvement. Inventory climbed slightly for the first time in a few weeks, that kind of thing. So not a lot to talk about there. But let's talk about home inspections. When it comes time for the home inspection, right? In our market, typically we ask the homeowner not to be there for the home inspection, kind of get in the way, they get offended, all those kinds of things, right? So let's talk about home inspections in general. Did you know that 95% of buyers get home inspections, right? That's in today's market. That number was not that number just a year ago, right? When the market was going crazy and people were waiving inspections. 95% of sellers are making updates now or doing some repairs prior to listing their home. Again, a number that is completely different. That one actually blew me away a little bit. 95% of the sellers are actually doing something for their home prior to actually listing it. We didn't see that. Recently, we didn't see any changes to the house, right? There was not, some people even clean up. And then 67%, this is the number that's most important. 67% of buyers are now asking for repairs. For those of you that either bought, sold, or you're a real estate agent in the market not too long ago, you know that number was much closer to probably 1 in 4 asking for any kind of repairs, maybe less than that at the height of the market. So it's another indication that we're returning to somewhat of a normalized market. Again, I don't want to call it normal yet because we're not there. Inventory is too low for that to happen. However, 67% of buyers, that's more than half, are asking for some sort of repair. So if you're getting ready to list your home for sale, know these numbers and know that they're important. So it might help you to go ahead and get your house ready for market by doing some of the things that you know are deferred maintenance that need to be done. Anyhow, that's what I've got for you this week. Happy birthday to my wife, Jennifer. Today is Cinco de Mayo. It is her birthday. Please help me wish her a happy birthday. Find her on Facebook. Find her on Insta. Give her some love. And I will see you at Meet in the Streets tomorrow. I will see you. Yes, I'll be at an NC State graduation tomorrow. And most importantly, I'll see you at Cinco de Mayo somewhere on Wake Forest today. Y'all have a good day.